So be careful not to think a change of gait does not mean he's gone forward. So just because they go from a trot to a canter does not mean they're going faster. I want to see an actual move of energy when I act.
Okay, here's the situation. 2020, one of my goals was to participate in the Western States Expo in Sacramento here in California. I had a couple trainers that have already participated in this, and they were willing to write me some letters of recommendation. I had a video that I was going to send in for an application, all the things. So I'm randomly scrolling through Facebook and I see, oh look, Western States Expo is having a virtual experience. Obviously 2020 didn't happen because old Rona came and took away our large gathering. So fast forward to me scrolling. I don't look at the date. I just, oh look, virtual event, that's cool. I feel that inspiration bubble up. I'm going to see, what would it take for me to be a participant in this virtual event? Seeing it as like maybe an opening to, once live events are a thing, I could get in. Well, she responds back and, tell me about yourself. I say, you know what, I've just done this first vlog. I can just send this to you and you can get a feel for who I am. I kind of introduce myself a little bit and you get the idea. So I send it. She says, we would love to have you participate. I think it'll be fun. Seems like it'll fit in well. Just go ahead and upload 6 of those vlogs into this. Here are the directions. I don't have 6 vlogs because that was my first one, but I'm also not willing to screw this opportunity up. So I'm getting creative. I'm going to sleep on it and I'm going to think about what I need to do. I have some ideas. I've reached out on social media in a desperate plea to help me. But I'm not screwing this up. I will figure this out. 6 of something is being uploaded before Wednesday at midnight. I don't know what's going to happen, but here we are. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We are all fine here. So I'm actually getting ready right now, but I wanted to update you guys on the fact that career change, I'm doing makeup tutorials. Just kidding. I have decided on how I'm going to work this crazy situation out, okay? So I have my first vlog, the one they've already seen. It's an intro to me and my purpose for doing the vlogs, right? Second is actually probably going to be this vlog because I feel like I should throw all this in. Is I just happen to have a couple clients coming out this morning for a group session. So my second vlog, this one, will be kind of my principles in the round pen, describing, the nervous systems, how the things I look for, how I build out a program for each horse. And it's cool because I'll be able to refresh my clients and teach somebody, which always makes me more present, I think, in it and describe things better. The third vlog is going to be the actual lesson that I'm going to do with them, which is a bridleless round pen lesson, body awareness, feel, timing, tension, what it feels like to not have control, which always brings up stuff for people. My fourth one will be Sandy Freeberg, the body worker. I started stretching my own horses, talking about release of tension and release of built up trauma and stuff and how it affects their performance. Well, I'd like to have someone who's actually professional at that come out and have that conversation with me while working on a horse, while also educating you guys. And then the last 2, I'm going to repurpose a couple of videos that I did, kind of impromptu videos at clinics where clients, I think both, were actually having a hard time mounting at the mounting block, and it tied back into some beliefs they had about themselves. And also the second one is just getting more present and aware and listening to what your horse is trying to tell you. So that's my 6. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to finish getting ready because I can hear them out there. And hopefully this all works out just like it's supposed to. I got totally lucky, and I have Lauren, my old assistant. She happens to be in town, so she's going to video for me. Everything is going to be great. Okay, so we're going to head out after I'm done getting dressed and ready. And I'm excited. It's going to be just perfect. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? It's going to be a good morning. We're going to get all the things done, huh? We're going to get everything done we need, for sure. Got nothing to worry about. It's a big old mess you did. Are you ready?
Yes, we are ready. Woo! It should be like this. This is like just real life, okay? Where no one's doing anything different than what we normally do. Okay. So today what I'm gonna do, give you guys a refresher on the principles of nervous system stuff and responsiveness stuff and awareness stuff. Their first priority, which is, am I safe? That's their number one priority all the time, no matter what. So keeping that in the forefront of your mind, if you're going to be a good partner for them, that's going to create trust between the two of you, the most important question you need to be asking yourself is, what does my horse need to feel safe right now? So when you remember, any performance issue that you have is only coming from tension in their body. If they won't go forward, if they buck, if they pull on your hands, if they pull on your reins, they don't move off a leg, it's only because there's tension in their body. And the only reason there's tension in their body is because there's some story within that that's telling them they need to protect themselves. It's pretty similar to yourselves because people are doing the same thing constantly. Your survival brain is always looking for danger. Okay, you know, what's going to happen next that I need to be careful of? The piece of your brain that supports you thriving is a completely different animal. So the one that's running you all the time that you don't have to think of is the one that's identifying what can hurt you, what might be unsafe, either socially or physically. So we're similar in that way. Everyone wants to live. So why I say that piece is because it gives you a different level of empathy when you're working with them. You're trying to be a leader, not a dictator, and a partner. So when you're creating this stuff with them, you have to think of how things are coming from their perspective. So the empathy piece is really, really important to remember. The second most important thing to them is, where do I fall into the herd? So identifying who is safe, and when we start partaking in activities with them, we become part of their herd. So just because we're not a horse, it doesn't make things make it different for them. So them identifying, do I need to take over leadership when I'm with this person, this other piece of my herd, or do I get to kind of take a back seat and be led? Most horses do not want to be in a leadership role. It makes them feel concerned. And they have to, if you're not showing up like that for them and they feel like they have to take over, it looks like pushiness, it looks like nervousness, it looks like anxiety, it looks like a lot of things. Most people will say they're disrespectful, they're, the whole list of things that will come up when horses start to behave that way. Most of the time it is because they do not feel a strong sense of leadership from you, and it scares them to have to take on that role, but a survival piece of their brain says you have to or you could die. So what makes you feel safe to be around? It is your level of awareness. So then you hear a lot of people say, I know that horses can read my energy, so I need to make sure that I'm showing up as confident. Horses also have very big BS meters, so they can read your energy. They have a high level of mirror neurons. Immediately reads your hormone levels, your heart rate, all of those things it can calculate in the moment. So if you are scared, it is better for you to say, I am scared, than it is to say, I'm fine. So the awareness piece is big, and the how are you showing up for them is going to really take away a lot of their own anxiety and pushiness and whatever it looks like. So the first thing I do in the round pen is I say, I want you to be able to move your feet. This is going to establish, where do I fall into the herd? When horses don't move, sometimes people want to call them stubborn, they want to call them lazy, they want to call them a lot of things. Usually it's just they don't feel safe moving forward. If horses run off and they go really fast or really reactive, they need to feel safe going slow. It does not mean you don't put them in a situation that makes them uncomfortable. It means you're going to put them in that situation that shifts them into that place where they think is not safe, but you're going to hold your energy in a way that is going to make them understand, oh, wait a minute, if they're not frustrated and angry about this, they can kind of calm down and process. So the one last thing I'll say is the nervous systems. If you're in survival, if you're in that sympathetic nervous system, that stress state, you can't really absorb information like you would be able to if you are in the opposite, which is the parasympathetic. So how do we know? And we're not trying to keep them from that stress state. We're trying to teach them and remind them that they have the ability to re-regulate their systems back to the other way. They're born being able to do that, and most of the time from us interacting with them and not hearing them when they tell us that they're worried about something and ignoring it and blowing it off, it teaches them to just shut down. So what we have to remind them is that they can go back and forth. They can get really scared of something and then they can calm right back down in that moment. And by doing this with them, you're re-showing them how to do it. So what I do is I'm going to put a lot of pressure on, figure out what the horse needs, and when I release, I'm going to wait long enough until they switch over nervous systems so that they can actually process what just happened and rewrite the story of what they thought was scary before. What does it look like when they switch? So when they're in stress state, there's tension, their heads are up, their ears are forward. Everyone knows what they look like. Their eyes are big, there's tension. When they switch over, they'll start to drop their head, their eyes will soften, their lips will droop, they'll lick and chew, which kind of feels like processing information to me. And then a yawn is a real big release of stuff that they probably have been carrying for a long time. So I'm going to start off by just sending them forward and asking them to be responsive. The moment they give me something, I'm going to release in the beginning, but then I'm going to build as I go. I want to make sure I want to push you into a place where maybe you're not totally comfortable, but I'm going to show you that it's okay to have pressure put on. And I'm going to make sure that when I start in a direction, that I'm going to follow through and make that direction be what I So now I'm going to kind of push him forward a little bit and see how responsive he is, even though he's already going. And he didn't really. So be careful not to think a change of gait does not mean he's gone forward. So just because they go from a trot to a canter does not mean they're going faster. I want to see an actual move of energy when I ask. The important thing for me, what I'm doing when I'm in here, is I make sure I'm breathing. I ground myself. I feel the sand underneath my feet. I make sure I'm not holding tension, because if I'm holding tension, it's not going to encourage him to go forward. I want to make sure horses are willing to express themselves. So the bucking, the kicking, and all of that is good, because it means they feel safe enough to tell you that they don't really like it. When you have a horse that's shut down, those are the horses that get deemed, they speak out of nowhere, or they buck and people don't know why. I'm going to stop and I'm going to let him process. I asked you to go forward. You kind of didn't want to. You were a little sticky. And then you did it. I never got frustrated. And so he realized it's safe to be moved around by me, because I'm not in here hung up on an agenda of, you better get forward because I told you to. Like, nobody wants to deal with somebody like that. So you think about, how do I want to show up in a relationship with someone when I'm asking them to do something, knowing that there's a balance. Hold him still a couple more times. So I'll finish with one little last thing about the spooking, bucking, any of those things. For me, what happens is when they're in that sympathetic nervous system and all of that stuff is being released into their body, it accumulates in certain parts of their body. And if there's no release, then it builds up and there's an accumulation. So if you think about it like a balloon, and every time something stresses them out, even if it's a little bit, and you're talking about feeding time, if your horses only get fed twice a day, you're talking about when their friend leaves the pasture, when you're talking about when you're walking them up with a cookie. There's so many things that it can accumulate into that anticipation to release those hormones. So every time that happens, there's a release and it stores up in certain parts of their body. So that looks like stiffness. It looks like not being able to bend, not going forward. So when you think about that stuff, when you're doing your groundwork, what you're doing is you're going in specifically and finding those spots and asking for that stuff to be released. So you can let the air out of the balloon before it pops. So if you see a horse that's always going around and he never does anything bad, he never spooks, he never bucks, he never does anything, except randomly, once in a while, all of a sudden, a leaf will fall from a tree and then he takes off with his owner and bucks it off. Because what people aren't identifying is the fact that the horse is being obedient, which is very different from being relaxed. So noticing how your horse is energy-wise, like before he was looking at me and he was super attentive, that would have been him being obedient when I asked him for something. that was like 15 seconds ago. Now he's switching over to a place where he's relaxing. But I know from here he's still going to be responsive the moment I pick up and ask him for something. So remembering that the bucking and the spooking, all that is a release of that tension that they've been storing up, and you need it. So when you go into the round pen and you're pushing on them and putting pressure on, you're looking for those spots so that they can release, so that they can actually hold more tension. So if something stressful does come up, they can handle it. It's like us in our self-care. Like if you don't tell people how you feel, if you don't have some type of release, if you don't talk about it with someone, if you don't go do something you love and give yourself those releases, your tension in your body builds up and you'll start to have chronic pain. You'll start to get sick. Your nervous system, if it's running like that constantly, is going to end up with you not being well. And you're more likely to snap on your partner or your kids or your horse or whatever that looks like, or the person that cuts you off, you know, like on the freeway. Like that's going to be your release, and it's going to be big and probably not aligned with your highest self. So that's why this stuff is really important. So I think that's it for like the general. So when you come into round pen, this is your opportunity to go, okay, where am I at right now? I got to get grounded, and I have to know exactly what I want. You want to be clear on what you're going to ask him. So your goal in the round pen is to give him space to be able to get those releases so that he can learn and he can feel relaxed and he can handle it. And also to remind him where you are at within his herd in this moment.
You want me to start him off cantering?
Doesn't matter, as long as he's forward. So you're gonna think, I want you to go forward, pick your direction, and stay committed to that direction. Good. And then in between you asking him things, take a deep breath, reground your feet, and remember what your next request is gonna be and why. Good, so you're just a little off. Good, so you just wanna next time, just think about driving him from his hip, and you're gonna stay focused on his hip. Good. Good. And here in this, you're going to take a deep breath, reground. Remember what your purpose for doing this is so that you can stay present. I'm here to show you that I'm a safe leader and allow you space to be able to express yourself if you've been holding on to anything that is going to create tension in your body. So you're going to think about her shoulder, pushing it around. Good, you don't need a lot. Good, so if she's like, wah, it just means she probably could go with less pressure. So you just relax your energy, and you can put the whip like down next to your side. Yeah. Every little thing that you do, if you have a horse that is sensitive, then they'll show you if there's too much pressure. So this horse doesn't really stuff anything. She feels all the things and will tell you in the moment exactly how she feels all the time. Good, so switch your whip and walk straight at her. There you go, and then relax. So if you have a horse that's super forward and wanting to run and be really expressive, and you don't necessarily want to let them just run and run and run, what you can do is you can change directions back and forth. So go ahead and cut the arena in half, ask her to change directions, walk out, keep your eye on her there, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Good. And then back to the middle. And then relax. And then switch directions again. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And then relax and reground. So you got to switch the whip into a different hand. There you go. Good, switch the whip again. And walk out. Keep your eye on her. And now go ahead and stop. That's okay. So on this next one, what she needs to know right now is it's safe to go slow. It's safe to slow down. So you're gonna change the whip. It doesn't mean you need to hide or move less or be careful. It just means you're showing them this, right? So stop, good, and stop there. And now you take a step back, but don't let her come all the way in. So walk towards her and say no, walk towards her. Just tap more assertive with the whip. Make your back up, keep more assertive. All the way, follow through all the way back. Keep backing, keep backing. So now you're establishing, I'm gonna be your leader from a place of, because I want you to trust me and understand that it's safe to go slow and it's safe to be on your own. So now back up, but leave her there. And then say no, and again. So she's giving you lots of opportunities to step up as a leader. Good. And then now pause, and then back up. But don't hold tension when you back up. You don't care if she walks forward because she's just giving you multiple opportunities to show up like that for her. When you release your agenda, if you go, oh no, I don't want you to make a mistake, that releases the tension. So if you say, I don't care if you make a mistake, because it gives me multiple chances to say, no, I'm going to re-explain to you. I'm showing you exactly where you need to be so you don't have to take over that leadership role that makes you a little bit anxious. And the back and forth with the head is good because that's helping switch over. Good. Remind her again, nope, you're okay on your own. And I'm going to show you you're okay on your own. Good. And then back up. And you don't care if she doesn't do exactly what you want her to. You're showing her, so what I would be choosing for is it's safe to stand still, it's safe to be independent, and it's safe for you to go slow. And then while you're standing in the middle, you're exhaling, you're feeling the sand under your feet. Good. Again. Good. And then release any agenda, and then back up again. Okay, so remember the middle. Good. So think about, he's gone and he's moving forward and you're still walking, yeah?
Yeah, but if
So-
I stop, I guarantee you he'll stop.
Right, because you always encourage him to keep going.
Yep.
So at some point, you gotta cut the kids off the allowance and the, so he's moving and he's out of college. He's graduated college and he's saying, Mom, but I still need money for groceries, but like weekly. And you've got to say, you know what, if you get into a tough spot, I'd more than be happy to help you out with groceries.
Right?
But like, you got to be able to do this on your own. So if your expectation is, if I stop moving, he's just going to stop moving, then he will continue to stop moving when you stop moving. So it's about the willingness to allow him to get the wrong answer. You know, it's okay. Like, who cares if he stops?
Right.
You want to be able to stand there and have him go round and round and round. That's what your goal is, right? I want him to keep going forward effortlessly. So if you take the energy that you had the other day when we did that exercise from the back up into the trot forward, that's essentially what you're doing here. Have it be as urgent as that in here, and then just relax and ride. Even if he never keeps going round and round with you today, it doesn't matter. Because if you set that as your standard of, I don't want to have to tell you to keep going all the time because that makes my legs tired, and it's probably kind of annoying for you because I never leave you alone. There's like a million different things that go into that. So have the expectation, I want you to go forward without me continuing to ask you to. And have that in your head. So every time you get him going forward, that release is going to tell him that's what I wanted. And even if he makes the mistake of slowing down, good. It gives you another opportunity to show them what you want. It's like Clover walking in over and over. It's just another opportunity. Don't care if it happens. Let it happen. Another opportunity to reconfirm what you've been asking them to do. Clear here. So you'll relax here, and then you're going to say, I want you to go, go, go. Keep going. See how you're like, no, I don't want to keep going. And then relax. That. No. I'm not even letting. Okay. So now that he said, oh, oops, I'm stopping, then you go for it. Okay, no. Good. Leave it beyond that, and then now go back to the middle. Totally relax. You don't care if you stop. Good. And then forward again, right out. There, stop. So keep going. See how you gotta find that there. There's that balance of really getting present and knowing when he's actually stopped. Because you tend to want to ask him to go when he's already going.
Right.
And then when he stops, you stop. So he's actually training you a little. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed. Just a little bit of a taste of some of the round pen stuff, some of the conversations we have around when we're starting that process and working with our horses. I just wanted to really give you guys some new perspectives, some different things to think about, and really just drill in that all they want is to be heard and to be seen and to be understood, which is obviously pretty similar to what we as humans want. And really, you can get so much farther faster by going slow, recognizing when they're letting you know that they feel uncertain about situations, and just pausing and acknowledging that. That in itself will get you leaps and bounds beyond repetition and pushing through their fear and anxiety. Just be comfortable sitting with it and tapping into what they need and what you need. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you next time.